to invite a special business strategist. He has spoken here last year at Genius Talk, and now I'm so happy and pleased to invite him again to come here and to talk at Genius Talk. And as I said, he's a business strategist, and he's been working with entrepreneurs, helping them to get more clients, to make more money, and yes, and to upscale their business. And he has many skills. And for today, he's gonna share a strategic or practical strategy for you to create compelling copywriting or sales copy for your Facebook post or Facebook advertisement. So, ladies and gentlemen, not to taking more time from you, please welcome with a big round of applause, Steve Wofford.
Thank you. How's everyone doing today? Doing good. The closer you come, the more money you make. People in the front row that put themselves out there are the ones who make the money. So if there's anyone in the back that wants to up level, it's just a matter of getting in the front row. There you go. Before we get started, I wanted to make sure, I'm going to pass my phone around. I actually have, this talk is based on a piece of content I wrote, an article, and I want to send it to you, and so that way you don't really have to take notes. You can just be engaged in the experience that we're going to have, and I'll email you this article after we're done, but it's basically everything I'm going to speak to in a little bit more digestible way, because some of this stuff we're going to be covering a lot of ground, and so it'll be very helpful for you down the road when you actually start wanting to implement some of these strategies. So I'm going to have Shelly pass my phone around, and you guys can put your email addresses in, and I'll follow up with you guys after the talk. So I'm going to be sharing with you how, actually this is my own story in how I very regularly create 5-figure posts by just writing a simple Facebook post, very targeted, without any ads or anything like that. Who thinks that's possible? Okay, is there anyone out there doing that or bigger? Like where you're making 10,000 US or more. Okay, so it's good to see that there's people out there, so there's proof that this stuff happens. Who would like to be able to write that kind of content that simply with relative ease? Okay. Okay, so there's like 15 people that want to do that. I want to get an idea of what sort of challenges do you think that you have in doing that? Visibility. Okay. Anyone else that wants? You're dyslexic. Well, luckily you can type it out, and so you can have a couple shots at it. Anyone else? Offer. Okay, so visibility, offer. Those are two very, very key, and I'll talk about those. Anyone else? Yeah, that has to do with the visibility and keywords, visibility in Google. Any other challenges out there? Usable content. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What else? Was there another one? So many. Okay, so many different markets. Okay. All right, good. Now I also want to give you a little secret. I'm actually practicing what I preach. The format that I'm using in this talk is actually modeled after the framework that I'm going to be sharing with you. And this framework doesn't matter if you're speaking, if you're on Facebook Live, you're doing a podcast interview, if you're doing a Facebook post, if you're doing Instagram, It's basically the fundamentals really just about selling anything. And there's certain layers that you have to break through in order to sell anything. And so you can actually, once you learn to embody this sort of thing, you almost start showing up as your offer to the world, and it doesn't matter where you go. You could be talking to someone in the grocery store, you can be writing a Facebook post. And so this is very, very, very powerful information. But before we really dig in, I just kind of want to ground in to where we're going. And so if everyone would just close your eyes, and I just want you to take a couple deep breaths. And I want you to just kind of let go of all your ideas on what you think this is or where this is going, what you think about it, what you think you know, what you think you don't know, and just let it all go. Okay. Okay. So I want to just share a little bit about myself. And since this is really about writing or actually communicating, I want to just take you back to an earlier time in my life. It was when I was in high school. And just before I entered high school, I actually loved to write. But I really never thought anything about it. It wasn't necessarily a pastime that I had, but whenever I was given a high school assignment, it was like I loved to do it. And I remember when I entered in ninth grade, I got put into advanced placement English. And after about 2 weeks, the teacher told me, hey, your stuff's really not cutting it. You're not good enough. And guess what happened? I gave up on writing altogether. And so as I went through high school, and then eventually I started a technology and consulting career. And I did that for 20 years. And there was a lot of technical writing, a lot of email correspondence, selling over email. And so it became like a business skill that I had. And then after about 20 years, I left my corporate career because I found my purpose. I had an awakening. I was at a point where I had my family fall apart. I had my career fall apart. I had all kinds of addictions. And then I was like, none of this is working out. And I said, dead or alive, I'm not living like this anymore. And so I slowly walked away from my family, my career. And then the only thing left was really for me to find out, what Steve put on this earth to do. And I call that living my purpose. Is there anyone here that has a purpose in life? Okay. Good number, you guys. Well, I found mine, and that was to be a service. And at the level or the depth that I had gone, it was really a life or death situation for me. And so I had to really figure out, why am I here on this earth? And nothing short of my highest calling was going to make it. And then so after I left my corporate career, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. Like, I can't go back to the corporate world. I have this strong calling, and it was like, all I kind of knew is I was going to be like some sort of speaker, author, or coach kind of thing. Very vague with it all. And it wasn't until I had one of my friends who is a very successful entrepreneur, and she said, Steve, you're a very gifted writer. And it kind of took me back, because I was like, no, I'm not, because my ninth grade AP English teacher told me my shit's not good enough. And so when I sat on that for a second, I was like, okay, I can write. I have this strong message. I can share it. I have all this business experience. And I started realizing that, I could actually write. But one of the biggest problems I had is I went on this journey of basically writing and sharing content, writing and sharing content, writing and sharing content, writing and sharing content. Can you relate to that? Where you're creating, but like you're not getting clients, you're not getting the money, or it's not enough to where you think it should be, or maybe you're not even paying your bills with it, or you're spending a bunch of money on Facebook ads and they're not quite as powerful as you want them to be. And so I was at that place for longer than I'd like to admit. And so I really had to figure out, how do I create content that creates cash? And so I had to go on this long journey of finding out, how do you actually go about that? Because to me, business is expression of the heart. And so how do I do that in a way that's of service, but I'm not just constantly giving, giving, and giving. I have to be able to receive, receive, receive. And I should be able to put out and receive just as much back. And it's not necessarily in a transactional way, but I just know that if I go share a piece of content, something's going to happen. And I'll get enough back to make it worthwhile. And so I can continue to invest in myself, invest in my family, and invest in my business. And so ultimately, that's what I help people do. I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs get clients, sell their products, and make money. Like, it's that simple. And it's very possible when you are in full alignment with your messaging, what you have to offer, and those you speak to. And so when you're actually communicating these things, you can actually spend a couple hours, write a post, and drop it in the right places, and you're actually going to be able to receive, instead of trying a million different things, you can get really laser focused in it. And so the big part of my job is helping people get very, very laser dialed into where those places are, so that they can maximize their return on the content that you create. So yeah, like I had mentioned before, not only is this something that I'm doing right now as I'm speaking, but it's something I do in all my writing. And I tend to look at it more about embodying it, and it comes from a subconscious place. I don't have to like think about it. It's just when I write, I don't have to think about any of this stuff. And so in the beginning, it could be very overwhelming to write a particular way. And you can get to a place where you can just automatically write or automatically speak to someone, and it just comes out in a way that's going to draw in the right people. And it's almost kind of like, it's using like law of attraction type stuff, where you embody a vibration of what you offer that's in full alignment with yourself and those you serve. And you end up attracting them through the content that you create or the person you talk to in the grocery store. And not only have I seen massive results where when I step into this place, I fill up my coaching practice in a week. I spend a couple hours and write a 5-figure post like that every time. I have clients, brand new coaches, brand new businesses that bring in clients that get 5 figures, 4 or 5 figures. And so it becomes a very, very powerful skill set. But I don't want to lie to you. It's not necessarily easy. It takes a lot of work to get there. Just about embodying anything or any skill that you do, it takes some repetition. But with the right coaching or training, it's very, very possible. So if you're willing to invest the time and money in incorporating these things into your business, the payoff is very, very high. Okay. So I'm going to get to the core of what I'm going to teach. And who's familiar with sales copy formulas? How many of them use them every day? Do you have any specific formulas that you use? Okay, that's one. Anyone else have any that they'd like to share?
It's not working. Yeah, yes, it is. We can't hear if they don't use the
Oh,
mic.
okay. All right, yeah, next time I ask a question, you can answer with the microphone.
Right. It's working. It's working.
Okay, so I want to just explain about, or go ahead.
Oh yeah, there's just a bunch of them from like Perry Belcher. He's got like a 21 point sales page template in this specific order. He said he'd rather have copy that sucks than have it in a wrong order. So that's for like long form or video sales letters. And then problem, agitate, solve is easy. Or here's what I've got. Here's how to help you. Here's what I want you to do next. Use that one too.
Yeah. So there's probably hundreds of different formulas out there. But the thing is that the formula is just that. It's a formula. You have variables that you can drop in. And actually the challenge isn't figuring out the formula, it's figuring out the variables. Like someone had mentioned like the different markets or groups that you're speaking to, like that's a variable. Another variable could be keywords. Who is the copy for and what words are going to resonate with them? But the thing is you can figure all those things out and you can actually get to the point where it's literally you just drop the right words into the formula that works best for you and it just works. And so anytime I'm writing, I don't write without a formula or a structure. And so every time I write, and I basically use one that is kind of general purpose. So anytime I'm writing something, I already know what variables to plug in. And it's really just the content of the story or the how-to that I'm speaking of that changes. And so once you can kind of have your general structure, it can get very easy to deliver your content. And not only that, content that's going to ultimately create cash and create clients and sell your products. And that's where we're trying to get to. So I'm going to write down one of the formulas I use, and it's a very general purpose one, and it's my favorite one. But like I said, there's millions of them out there. But if you start with this one, it kind of hits on all the major ones. And every one after that is kind of a variation of that, maybe a little bit cut down. And some of them are like 21 point where they're more expansive. But the thing is just to start with something and say, hey, I'm going to share this piece of content and I'm going to use this specific framework. And so if you use this one, it's a great start. So give me a second. I'm going to write this down. Is that legible? Okay, good. All right. Person is the first one. Who's heard of an avatar ideal client? Who knows theirs? Would you mind sharing? Your client might be sitting here. You never know.
My ideal would be a middle-aged mother who is frustrated with her healthy habits, taking care of herself.
That's a good one. I can feel that. And one thing about knowing the person, because I hear this stuff all the time from my clients, I'm like, does that hit? My system's like, I don't know who you're talking to. You need to tell me. If I don't know someone, then I'm like, oh, I can think of, so-and-so. Like, a good way to find out is if you really know who your ideal client is or avatar, is to go, hey, do you know anyone with X, Y, and Z? And if they're like, oh, yeah, I know 5 people, then, like, you're onto something. If they're like, I can't think of anything, or if they're like, oh, yeah, the whole town, like, you're way too far off, because it has to be about very specific on someone they can recommend. So if your friends can't recommend someone to you, then your sales copy is not going to resonate with anyone. Was it you, Rebecca? Yeah. Can you share yours?
Yeah, mine is,
Here, well, let's get you a mic.
oh yeah. My current target avatar is someone, it's 55 to 62, empty nester. They live in the suburbs of London, and they are executive level in careers, probably work in London, and kids are out of the house. They're time poor, cash rich.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay, that feels very clear
yeah.
and specific. Can I get another one? I need one more. Scott, here, let's get you the mic.
Experts, authors, coaches, consultants who have been selling one-on-one services, packages, and are maxed out, burnt out, feeling held hostage by their clients, and want to leverage digital marketing automation systems, maybe online courses or other offers, so that they can free up their time and get their time back while scaling their business and taking care of and growing their team.
Hell yeah, good. That feels good to me.
You want me to share?
Yeah, Shelly, your ideal client.
Women 30 to 50. I have a couple ideal clients depending on the product, but one of them that I'm thinking of, women 30 to 50 who are really ready to be met in relationship, who are ready to love, and have had quite a bit of hardship around intimate relationship, and they're ready to let all of that go and call the real thing in.
Good. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, those were all really, really good.
Sorry, Lisa, do you want to say something?
No, go ahead, please.
Thanks. I have several, but one is entrepreneurs or people who are in corporate and want to get out of that into something more meaningful, but entrepreneurs who want to become social impact entrepreneurs. So rather than just making money, they want to build a business around making a difference in the world.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I want to point out there's a couple things I heard. A few of you have multiple ideal clients, and like that's perfect and beautiful, but you can't always write to all 3 of them when you're writing. And so what happens is sometimes if you're writing to 3 different people, it doesn't hit with any of them, and so it's like you almost have to create 3 pieces of content or 3 products like Shelly to where that really, hey, I'm speaking to this person with this specific set of problems, because otherwise it ends up falling flat and it's not as powerful as it could be. And so it's all about finding how can my writing be more powerful by finding that specific person that you're writing to. Now, one of the things that I do a little bit differently with ideal client avatar is that, to me, like, it's about my purpose. It's about how my heart wants to express itself through my business. And so to me, I actually call it my inner client. And this is something that comes from, why was I put on this earth and who am I here to serve? And so I tend to go a lot deeper into some of the problems that I help fix and solve. And so it's kind of like I was created to serve a certain type of person that takes not only my purpose and my passions, but it also uses some of my experience to find those people, attract those people, and work with those people. And so, because what happened is When I first started this, I was like, I was trying to work with people I thought the market wanted. I was doing stuff that I thought, you're supposed to do on social media or marketing or in business. And so you go through, I mean, how many of you done the marketing, like avatar exercises, right? And so, but sometimes the problem with that is that we have our own beliefs, not only about ourselves, but who we think we're supposed to work with. We believe a lot of bullshit about ourselves. And so we're going to project a whole lot of bullshit onto other people and what we think they need. And so we have all this great inspiration. At the end of the day, it's just a projection that's fragmented from our real power and our real truth and who we're called to serve. And so finding out those people actually can be a very deep transformational process in and of itself, because we have to remove all those limiting beliefs about other people and what we think they need from us. And so that takes us to the next part, their pains and their problems. Now, how many of you have had a inspiration that, hey, I want to go change the world, or I want to go fix this sort of problem? Yeah, a lot of us had, right? But have you ever experienced where the world wasn't kind of really into it as much as you thought they would be? Anyone? I mean, yeah, it's like we don't want to admit it, but we think we're all awesome and we have these gifts. Why don't people want it? Or even if they do, is it as powerful as it could be? Are there more people that should actually be resonating with you? Because I don't know, it'd be nice, we hear a lot of talk about changing 1 million people's lives or changing the world, right? Well, in order to do that, we have to really find out what they want or need, not just what we're inspired to do. And so it becomes a discovery of finding where we meet those people at. And one of the ways that we meet them is through their pains and their problems. Because I actually have a belief that a problem isn't a problem until it creates pain. Does anyone agree or disagree with that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if I want to go on this epic vacation, it's actually not the epic vacation I want. It's because I'm swamped or I'm stuck in a routine. There's actually a problem fueling that desire to create something else, or the want for that desire so create that it actually creates a pain. And a lot of times when you go through some of these exercises, that they're very surface level problems. But when I'm working with my clients and some of the work that I've done, their pains and problems are actually patterns that have been created since very young in childhood. And so, to give you an example, I'm having trouble making money. Okay, well, every time I do this, there's conditioning and patterns that were created very young in childhood where, maybe there were money blocks created when someone was very young. And so when I go and do all this stuff, I'm talking about problems, but not only that, my energetics are coming from a place of understanding those pains and those problems. In that, so when I'm speaking about the words, it's more than just a surface level word or description of what problem they're having. I mean, that might help, but there's also a deeper understanding of where these pains and problems come from. And people are going to feel much more heard when you're speaking in depth about those things. And then also the problems. Those are kind of like the hashtags and the keywords. Stressed out, overwhelmed entrepreneur. And that will pull some people in. But when I want to connect with them, I want to connect with them on a deeper level and on a subconscious level that they may not even know. And that's when you have people show up that are, you don't have to sell them as much. It becomes more natural. All right, next is amplify. Now, depending on the market that you're working in, I know mine as a business strategist, business coach, or consultant, it's kind of I don't know, when I work with people, I want to work with people that have been there and done that have experienced some of the pain that I've had in my life, whether it's in my business or personal life. Would someone rather work with someone who's actually experienced something, or would you rather just someone who it's all like book knowledge? Scott, who would you rather hire? Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. Because it just comes from a deeper grounded place, like true understanding. And so this part is about, hey, I've been there, I'm with you. Like, I'll go to war with you. You know, I've been through the worst, so no matter what happens, I'll be there right by your side. Like, I'm with you. Because really, people, especially when they want your products and services, they kind of just want to be held in a certain way. I mean, that's all we want. We just want to be supported, right? Through whatever we're selling, because we're really trying to overcome some sort of pain, right? And it could be a small pain or a big pain, but we want to know someone that's been in the trenches and they understand the journey to get out of it, so that it helps establish trust that, okay, this on some level, unless you're writing a technical manual, but we're not talking about that. Okay. And so, are there any questions so far? Everyone getting it? Okay. Yeah. Sorry? The amplify one is you're just turning up the pain volume, I guess, the pain or problem. Like you could say, hey, I know what it's like to be a stressed out entrepreneur. And you're kind of just reflecting back to them, hey, I know what it's like. And sometimes I segue into the story or whatever the solution is using that. But it's kind of just a way to reflect back to them what you're hearing. And you can reflect it back either in their own experience, in your experience, or a client's experience. Yeah, you are relating, but the reason I use amplify is because you're kind of, the intention is to amplify it. But yeah, you are, I guess relating it does amplify it in and of itself. Yeah, so, yeah, totally. I have an example that I will be emailing all of you. It's talking about this very specific thing, but it's basically rooted in sales copy. And so I'd be happy to send that over to you. I think it might be a little bit much to go over it in here in depth. All right, so last is the offer. Who here has an offer? Shelly, can you share? Do you have the mic?
I have a course called Manifest Your Love, and it takes women through a 6-week process to align their energy to calling in an amazing aligned relationship.
Beautiful. And she actually has tiered offers. She has like 3 offers. And so she's a great example of someone who's really kind of scaled their offering, because and this is where it can get actually a little bit complicated. Is there anyone else here that has multiple offers? Yeah, I know you do, Patricia. Can you share?
Can anyone please speak with mic, please, so that everyone can hear?
Yeah. So my tiered offers are, I have a introduction to feng shui program called the Happy Home, and then I have a personalized program, so that is still an online course, and then I work with people one-to-one VIP to feng shui their homes. So it's like 3 totally different like levels of service. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen Patricia's stuff, and she's doing she has amazing stuff, and she's someone who's really kind of like timed your offers to the right way, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. So it's like once you have your offer, you can't, as you guys know, you can't just offer everything all at once, just like you can't talk to everyone all at once. You actually have to have the right offer at the right time. And so, is there anyone out here who just has one offer? Maybe a coaching or course or something? Anyone out here that just has one offer? Did I see a hand over there? No? Yeah. Here, can you give her the
Can
mic?
you have the mic, please?
Oh, thank you. We have a dive center, so we do diving, snorkeling day trip, diving courses from beginner to professional level, diving packages, and diving safari.
Oh, beautiful.
So
Okay. So, one of the things about the offer is that who's familiar with know, like, and trust? So what happens is that I see quite often is that you can't just say, hey, I'm going to go write a 5-figure Facebook post and just offer like a 5-figure coaching package or a $2,000 course. Like, it doesn't work like that. You have to establish, they have to first know who you are, right? Then they have to actually like you. And then after they trust you, then you'll do it. And so what happens is that you have to build rapport by just getting them to know you when you're writing these posts. And so in how you do that is just by creating engagement on social media, or it could be doing a talk, or it could be talking to someone. You just open up in conversation about what sort of things you fix, the problems that you solve, the transformations you offer, and just creating engagement. And sometimes that's writing an inspirational post and someone comments and you try to dig a little bit deeper with them. You get to know each other. And so, because what happens is you can't put your front end offer before any of those things have happened. It just doesn't work like that. And so I see a lot of times you're doing it out of order. Just as you're going through this in order, you have to actually build this stuff up over time. And so sometimes my offer might be just, hey, I want to connect with you. I want you to either like or comment or share my content. And then once they start trusting you, maybe it goes to personal messaging, or you set up a discovery call. And then finally, you could actually create a call to action where you're actually, hey, here's a buy now button, or schedule a call with me, something along those lines. Does anyone have any questions about timing of your offer, or any other questions about what an offer is? Yeah.
That's the main thing I'm seeing. That's the main thing I'm talking about with a lot of my clients and potential clients, is just their offer and getting their, I call it their terms, their time, energy, resources, money, and sanity right in the offer, because so many people offer services and just keep burning themselves out. So there's...
Yeah. Here's maybe a new offer burnout. It's like if your offer's in the wrong place and at the wrong stage, you end up creating that content and you're just spinning your wheels, and then you're stressed out. And you're putting all this energy out, not getting anything in return. And so when the right offer is put out to the right people and you're speaking about the wrong or the right pains and problems, then that's where the magic happens, in full alignment to what you offer is there. And it becomes effortless, actually. And you don't have to work so hard. And it becomes a system. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. And then finally is really just,
Can I ask you a quick question on offers?
Yes, please.
So can you give an example? Like, I don't have a coaching business or something like that, but I sell like tailor-made holidays. So what I've heard you don't want to just like, you kind of want to do more soft sell. So what would an offer be in a situation where I was just trying to share what my services are, but I don't have like coaching packages that I'm selling or something like that? Does that make
I
sense?
think for you, know, like, trust, getting them to know you, creating an engagement. Like, where do you want to travel? Have you ever thought about traveling to this place? Entering into a conversation with them where you're able to, because you're able to kind of tap into and ask them to go a little bit deeper on what they want, you're going to, they're going to start knowing who you are. And it may not be just that one time thing, but, you know, a month later or a week later or the next day,
Right.
you kind of have already established that relationship. And if you think about it, it's just think about if you just meet someone for the first time.
Right.
It doesn't, you don't meet someone in 5 minutes and you go, I'm going to hire them. Normally you meet first and like you establish a relationship. And so like you could either through like your Facebook posts or through a blog or being a guest on like a travel podcast or a travel magazine where you're putting your name out there and, hey, these are the destinations I'm talking about. And have you ever felt like this? And you were talking about the executive that they have the time and the money to do these sorts of things. And you speak to those things and then you enter into conversation with them somehow
Okay.
and building a community around that.
So there's not always going to be like a clear-cut offer at the end of
No.
every post.
Yeah, and that's why the offer sometimes isn't
Okay.
like necessarily like a buy now offer. The offer can be, hey, just let's get into a conversation. It could be
Yeah.
a sales call. It could be apply to talk to me. It could be an actual just like a buy now. And so, and that's one of the important things is to time your offer and making sure your offer's appropriate for wherever you're at in the process with your audience. Any other questions? Yeah. I don't think it's on.
Is that better? Is that on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for me, I have a kind of an introductory course. It's about 4 weeks, and then I want to lead into the year-long course. And I think I'm pretty good at the timing of the offer for the first course, but it's the getting into the second course that I feel like I don't know how to do that as I grow, because normally I just take all those people and get on a live call with them. But now it's kind of getting where it's scalable, and I don't know how to sort of plug them into the next course in a timing wise, because I used to be like, okay, you finished that, now guess what's next, and then
Right.
offer the next course. But people were like, no, but they only come on when I do calls with everybody, but I don't want to do a call with every single person. So I don't really know the timing of when to offer the next up level kind of thing.
Yeah, that's something that's going to be a bit of a discovery for you in figuring those things out and looking at your options. And sometimes it's trial and error, making sure that your offer is timed right. And whenever you're scaling anything, like what scaled you to that point isn't going to scale you to the next point. It's like you figured out that first thing, getting people into your, just even into your opt-in and Tripwire or course or coaching package or whatever it is. But then how do you continue that, into your product funnel or your value ladder or whatever you want to call it. And so, but I mean, the same fundamentals apply. It's just sometimes you have to pivot here and there in figuring out what those things are. Anyone else? Okay. Response. Like, this one's the easy one. Usually it's, hey, I want you to comment. I want you to buy. I want you to schedule a call with me. I want you to book a package. I want you to, being very direct. Now, the one thing I want to say about your response, and we'll talk, and like Scott's the master of click funnels and landing pages and all that, but another big problem that I see with the response is that when you have a page, basically your page or your post, you want it to do one thing, and it's whatever's directed in your response. Now, if you have your menu, your card icon, about me, work with me, a blog, and all these other things, like if you want your response to be, I want you to sign up for my opt-in, You only do that one thing. I want you to click here to sign up for my opt-in, and that's all they can do. Because anytime you give your customers choices, they're going to be confused and they're not going to know what to do. And they're just going to close it out. And so when people can come into your system, whatever that is, and you give them one thing to do, you're going to be much more effective. And so when you can do that with the appropriately timed offer, that becomes when it becomes very, very powerful. And then you can start running ads and other content to that resource. And that's when you can really scale and amp up whatever you've created. But if those things are off and you're not clear about what you want them to do, people want to be told what to do because your products and services are what creating change in people's lives. And if you're not directing them in the transaction to work or buy from you, then how can they trust you in the long run that you're going to do the same thing? And so really this is all just this is all just an extension of what you really have to offer. Does anyone have any questions on that? Who's here using ClickFunnels, landing pages, things of like that? Okay. A good number of you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
Are you saying that an offer can, for a particular post, the offer might just be opt-in?
Yeah.
Like get here, click this link for my free gift, and that's the offer.
Yes.
And then, so the offer can be something free, but it also can be something not free. But you have it very aligned with one post, and there's one direction and one offer, which could be take the next step, basically. Whatever that next step is going to be.
Exactly. And this kind of leads into what you were speaking about, that how this would work in real life is that in an online space, I mean, this could be different for different industries, but from like an internet marketing perspective, you have normally how it works is, hey, I want people just to know who I am. And I get to introduce myself and have an inspirational post. Like my about page is kind of like this. And you just want it, the offer might be, hey, I want you to think about this. Have you ever thought about scaling your business, or where are you held back in life or business? Or have you ever thought about traveling somewhere? Have you ever thought about diving in an exotic location? And you're just getting them to question. Okay, this person seems they're asking me the right questions because I've thought about this stuff. Why aren't I doing it? Right? And so the offer could be just that. And here's my response is, okay, I want you to comment or email me some way to, it's about engagement. And then from there, it becomes more about, hey, I want to transact with you. It could be, hey, give me your email address and I'm going to send you my free gift. My offer is my free gift. And the response or direct action is to submit your email address. And then once you get to that point, like Shelly has a tripwire. Anyone else have tripwires? Scott? Patricia does. And so the next thing is, hey, okay, so a tripwire is like a low-cost product to get people to essentially buy from you. You're kind of making it easy for people to buy from you and to say yes about money. And so a tripwire is kind of a tool that they use to start that process before you make larger ticket purchases. Is it an actual tool, or is it just a generic term? It's really just a low-cost product to get people to take the next step with you. And so what it does is it establishes easy way for you to work with. And a lot of times a tripwire, it could be like an hour phone call. It could be to come in and sample your service, whatever it is, or maybe you get a free dive, or maybe you get a free travel consult, or a free strategy coaching session, or it could even be a very short workshop masterclass type course. But it's something that's it's low cost. And then once you do that, then the next offer could be, and normally this could be done it could be in a Facebook group, it could be done in email sequences where you're going, okay, well now here's my higher ticket offer. Here's my hundreds of dollars product or service. Here's my high-end coaching package. Here's my, new car. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, these things all kind of work the same, but it's about, Russell Brunson calls it the product ladder, or value ladder. And so there's different ways, but I call it a product funnel. You're basically, hey, exchange for time in my free stuff. Then we're going to exchange email. Then we're going to exchange small dollar amounts. Then you're going to exchange, thousands and several thousands of dollars in products and services. Any more questions on that? We good? Okay. Is this making sense for everyone? I want to make sure because I'm going to kind of move on. If you have any questions whatsoever, let me know. So you guys are all going to go create a 5-figure Facebook post tomorrow? Huh? Yeah, you could do it now. Why not? Okay. Woo. I want to get an idea. Say that tomorrow you went and implemented some of these things and you were able to create, a 4-figure, 5-figure, 6-figure post. Like, what would change? What would change for you?
Could you speak with the mic, please? Thank you.
What would change if I did a 5-figure post tomorrow?
Or what would you want to create? What would be pushing your limit to where you're at now?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What
Like you're able to enroll people into your course, right?
Yeah.
What's the next level that you want to push into?
I would want to hire someone.
Who would you want to hire?
An either administrative assistant or a tech person.
Mm-hmm.
Probably both. Yeah, I need a team.
Okay, and so what would it take to do that? Would you need to be able to pull in an extra 5 figures, or
Yeah, that would be nice, and I could pay them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I need a team, so that would be good.
Okay. Anything else?
I'd maybe I'd go to New York for the summer, maybe.
That sounds good.
Yeah, because I have good connections there too. That would be helpful with my business as well.
So basically, you would reinvest it into your business.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, this is the tools to do that.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of finding out where those alignments are and executing on them. Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else? I need at least 2 more people. Rebecca? Can you give her the mic?
What was the question?
If you woke up tomorrow and you could execute on this, where you're able to create posts that are launching your products or offering your services, and you were able to execute on this stuff tomorrow, like what would that look like for you?
I don't know. I mean, are you asking like what would my post look like, or what kind of clients
Results.
or would I be trying to, or what would I do with the money?
What you would book 30 new.
Oh, I see. Like quantify it.
Yeah, quantify. Like, what would, if you woke up tomorrow, you wrote a post tonight using this, what would it look like tomorrow for you if that were to happen?
I had like 15 new inquiries that wanted to travel like in the next 3 months.
Beautiful. Wait, what sort of revenues are you speaking about? Like,
what would that be? Like, let's say like 15,000.
okay, beautiful.
Pounds.
Pounds? Awesome, I like that. And what would you use that money for?
I feel like I'm really put on the spot here. I would just use that money to like just relax and not
I
worry
like
to
that.
not worry about money.
I like that. That's
and
good.
of course, then like reinvest. I would probably take a portion and hire someone to do my blog, all the marketing stuff that I don't want to do, that I don't like doing, and all that stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah, wow, that was fun. Thanks.
I like that.
Thanks.
Best way to have those things happen is actually speak it out, especially when you speak these things out. And that's why I'm kind of pushing. Like when you speak it out, you literally create energy to put out there that comes back to you. Yeah.
Hey, so I have a wellness stock photo platform. So if I could be putting out posts that's bringing me 10K per post, I'd like Kirsten definitely hire a team for marketing so that I could take more of a decision CEO role and stop doing all the bloody admin.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Some dollar amounts.
Yeah, so no, if one post is 10K, right? Then I'd hire my second full-time employee because I've got one already. So second full-time employee. I'd hire someone just to curate photographers and get new photographers on board. And I'd hire someone just to handle Pinterest because that's #1 for bringing traffic to my site.
Nice. I bet. I really like what you're doing, by the way. Stock photography is very cool. Okay, does anyone else want to share?
Lisa?
Also would upscale and build my team. Started, but make it a bit more permanent rather than just when I can afford to pay them. But yeah, build a team and so that the business runs itself. I don't have to do anything except the coaching. But it means also that I could then put the focus on to creating the movie that is going to change the world.
Beautiful. I love it. Is there any specific dollar amount that you would like to create?
Yeah, 80,000 a month. US.
80,000 a month?
Yeah, US.
I like that. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. One thing that I hear a lot about hiring a team, but I just want to question, why do you need a team to do all this stuff? If you can get so aligned that you don't actually need a team to do it. You can be so effective with writing that you can just call it in, write it, and you don't need all the marketing fluff and running around circles. When you're aligned to what you do, it doesn't matter what you can do. You can create the kind of money that you want to create. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
I was going to say,
Mm-hmm. Something to question. Questions, yes.
I was going to say that my empire is going to be so big that I can't run it by myself. I'm going to need people.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. From my experience, whatever we do when we're not fully aligned in writing from these powerful places, it ends up getting amplified by other people. And so when we bring more alignment, it's not whether or not we need help, but when we stand in that most powerful place, anyone that brings in that can help actually amplify that. But it could also, the reverse can be true to that too. And so it's just a question.
Yeah, for me, it's more about being in alignment and bringing in the people who are also in alignment who can then help me expand whatever it is that I want to do.
Totally.
So it's, yeah.
I agree. Thank you. All right. Woo. All right. So I want to kind of give you guys a larger context of how this fits into the bigger picture. Okay. Do you guys remember back to, we were talking about the offer? All right, and so each one of us has gifts to offer the world, right? We can help other people solve problems, whatever it is, right? And so, but one of the challenges is how do you package that up? Is it a diving experience? Is it a travel experience? Is it feng shui? Is it finding and attracting love? Is it building funnels for speakers, authors, and coaches? What is that package, and how do you package it up in a way that is a pure expression of who you are, and so that you can offer those gifts to other people? And so that's the first thing that you have to really understand when it comes to building and scaling your contact popped out. Building and scaling your business. And then after that, we were talking about the promoting it. And this is what the sales copy is. Now, you can't create sales copy if you're not appropriately packaging your offer. And so in order to promote and amplify it, you have to be really clear on what your package is and if people are going to actually be that are interested in purchasing from you. And hold on a second, I can't see the board without my contact. Facebook groups, beautiful. That's where I create a lot of my 5-figure posts, is Facebook groups. Anything else? What about you, Rebecca? Huh? Just, well, you have your website. Okay. Shelly, what about you?
YouTube mostly.
YouTube, Scott? With ads? Okay.
There's strategies we have for getting awareness at the top of the funnel, and then there's middle of the funnel where we go for opt-ins and conversions. So there usually Facebook ads mostly is what we work with.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I find if any of you guys are confused about where to offer some of your stuff, I mean, there's so many, I heard Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, blogs, websites. It really becomes about what's the one thing that could be good for you and enrolling with that one and then adding on later. It's not, I don't think there is any right way to do it. It's the one that you feel compelled to offer on. Okay. So your platform, after you kind of have all those, you know your offer, you know your package, you know where to promote it. It's about building your platform and your systems that are all tied into those different things, and that can be scaling like multiple offers. An opt-in is different than like a course, and tying all those systems in there. I know Patricia, Shelley, you guys have like very elaborate systems about massive platforms on orchestrating all those pieces, and so it becomes like a matter of scaling that next level and amping up that platform and getting bigger audiences, bigger marketing channels, bigger ad spends and things of that nature. And so figuring those things out, the platform, the level that you're at. And then finally is profit. Who wants more profit? Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, really we can't, I've heard mostly people talk about what they would do with the money. There is either relax, maybe taking care of yourself, or expanding in your business. I know that a large part of my money that I earn goes back into my business. And so we really can't be as powerful in our purpose without actually profiting from what we have to offer. And so it becomes a very fundamental core of like what I help people do. And that's actually to create profit. Does anyone here have a problem with profit? I just want to make sure. Well, some people kind of think money can be bad or evil. Okay. Okay, good. Good. But yeah, I mean, we're all I think any business is about growth, and profits is the best indicator of that. Because if you're doing something out of alignment, it's not always it's very difficult for the money to show up. If you're talking to the wrong people, you're offering the wrong services, your profits are going to show. And so it's a good way to measure. You can't prove anything you can't measure, and a great way to measure it is through money. So that's really what I'm about. I'm about working with purpose-driven entrepreneurs and helping them scale their businesses. I'm opening up 2 spots in my coaching practice, and these are basically the platform that I use to help people build their businesses, and I've been helping people build businesses for 20 years. And because at the end of the day, my purpose is your purpose. I want to help you. I use business as like the modality that I use to help do my work. And I have a very strong why that's rooted in my purpose. And so if that's something that interests you and you're looking to take your business to the next level, I'd love to talk to you after the talk. And that's all I have to say. And I want to thank you guys so much for showing up, especially my crew from Ubud. Thank you guys for coming down. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a beautiful evening. Thank you.
Great, awesome, wow. Thank you, Steve. So is it okay like if we open a Q&A session, like just in case there are some people here who still want to ask some question? So anyone, like if you still have questions in your mind, please, we're gonna open like Q&A session for 15 minutes. I guess like everyone here have something in their mind, but they're just like still thinking about that. Or are, yeah. Okay,
yes.
cool.
Blessed
Hold it for 5
impatience.
seconds.
I guess my question is kind of back to your 5-figure post. Is what was your post that like it was like a call to action of a coaching program? What was your 5-figure story?
So I was using Facebook groups, and it's very targeted, the groups that I work with. And it's because I know the types of people I work with most of the time.
And it's your own created Facebook group?
No, it can depend.
Okay.
But I don't.
Like you posted in Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you led them to a coaching package straight away?
Well, normally what happens is that it'll create some sort of engagement, and then I'll hop on a call with them, a sales call.
Okay, yeah.
And then my sales call kind of follows the same kind of framework. It's a little bit reversed and flipped around.
So is the post an opt-in for a call with you?
Actually, I don't even have to do that. Just for whatever reason, I'm very dialed into who I'm speaking to, that they just like message me, and I don't even have to say, do this.
Yeah.
And because you have to be careful where you're posting at.
I know what you mean, yeah.
And so it kind of depends on the situation, but I actually don't even need to make a call to action, because my words are I know how to sprinkle those in there.
Yeah, I've been in groups where I didn't even post anything. I was posting sharing for feedback and got like 4 different business relationships out of that.
Yeah.
But because it was such an alignment, I felt that I was like, whoa, I wasn't even looking for anything, and I got so much out of it, which was interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when you can tune into that place, and also more importantly is tuning into the next level of that, and then turning it up and like evolving it.
I feel like
scaling it.
Personally, I'm posting a lot. I just started my YouTube channel today.
Good job, nice work.
And I'm really sharing a lot of my heart and just putting it out, and I'm getting a lot of amazing feedback and things like that. But I'm sort of I guess lacking in the call to action, because I'm more of just like, this is what I got. Well, yeah, everybody's going to my YouTube channel, but that's not a call to. That's not like people coming in as clients. That's what I mean. I get a lot of engagement, a lot of people that kind of love what I'm sharing. But now I'm working on just getting it into that the conversions, right? Like all my conversions usually come from Facebook marketing and webinars, you know, but now I'm kind of doing other modalities. But I'm trying to get everybody in somehow. But I'm just sort of doing a lot of posting, but not actually drawing them in from those posts.
Yeah, I think figuring out why that is, because sometimes on YouTube it's so like vast and wide, whereas like a Facebook group, it's only, I mean, they're filled with very niche down target audiences, where Facebook tends to be wider. But there's also ways, like Shelley was like a magician when it came to directing people from her YouTube channel and putting them into her landing pages.
Yeah, what is your website? I have many people I could send your way.
Oh, it's shelleybullard.com.
Bullard.
Bullard.
Okay.
With my YouTube, the only thing they can see written in the description is here's your free gift and a link to my opt-in. I don't do, like, it's only here is your free gift, like free from YouTube.
She doesn't give them any choices.
And it gets a lot of action. Free gifts get a lot of action rather than here's my course sales page. It doesn't get a lot of action from that.
And so, yeah, this is when it's important to go back. Sometimes you have to go back and reevaluate. Because a lot of times what happens is we think we know what we know right now, but we don't know what we don't know at our next level. And so how do you go back? And a lot of times, like to me, this is branding, market research, our own deep internal work. And it's a constant evolution of who we are and how our hearts want to express ourselves through our business. And so it's like, okay, yeah, I got it figured out. I'm just going to stay here. Well, if you just stay there doing what you're doing, you stay stuck. And so sometimes we need help getting pushed beyond that in what our next level is. And so finding out what that is, and sometimes we have to go back to the drawing board, like, who the hell am I talking to today?
I feel like I've done that like 20 times in like the last 5 years. I'm always like, who am I talking to? And it is it's getting more and more clear, but I'm amazed at how long of a process that really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
For me, it changes, but I also have people to support me in figuring these things out quickly.
Yeah.
And then I'm also, I mean, luckily I do this all the time, so I'm used to like pivoting like that. Yeah. And it's kind of like I know the system that I have to go through to figure that out, what that next evolution is for me and my business. Yeah. And so sometimes it's just going back, like, who am I supposed to serve? What problems am I solving? What transformations they want? What can I package it up? And, you know, how can I relate to that in some way or some sort of story to it, and just rolling with that, whether it's YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, or Facebook, and just getting back to the basics.
Thanks very much. It was
you're welcome. Does anyone have any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, I would like to ask you about the Facebook groups.
Yes.
And whether you could give an exact idea of what you post, because most of the Facebook groups are not really happy about promotion, or you cannot even offer like a free download or something. So what is the value actually you are offering in a Facebook group that you are not getting kicked out?
Yeah, a lot of my 5-figure posts are from where you can't, like, I almost just delete my call to action in my offer. But I'm able to sprinkle it in my story to where I'm able to talk about kind of like the work that I do. Like, oh yeah, this is what I offer, and here's a little story about how I had helped some client with the transformation. There's ways to get around it. Same thing with like speaking from stage, like or selling from stage rather. There's a lot of venues you can speak at, but they don't want you like doing hard sales. And so there's ways like to kind of get around that. And there's no easy answer to that, but it is possible because I do it all the time. And I help my clients do it too.
Okay,
so it just
you cannot
takes
give like exact examples that you are using. Like I hear that you are saying like putting in a story how I work with the clients, but most of the time it's even not allowed in a Facebook group to talk about your own business or sharing your own page or anything like that.
What I could suggest to you is that you try out content. If it gets deleted, don't get your feelings hurt. either tweak your content or ask the group facilitators, like, what was it about the post that violated your terms? And then, can I try again? Just be open and honest. And then just try it, and then maybe try another group. And really, it's a matter of trial and error until you find the right combination, the right group. But once you can get those sort of things dialed in, it can become pretty easy.
And how often you post back to the same group?
Very inconsistently. Me, I don't have to actually create content super consistently, actually.
And do you post the same? I share my story content to like 10 different Facebook groups at the same time?
No.
No. So you are not spamming the groups, basically?
No, I do one. I don't even share the stuff on my public profile. At some point, I'll put them on a blog on my website, or one of them actually that did 5 figures I'm going to share with you guys. And that's the one I'm going to send out to you. And this is actually an article that I wrote that created like 15K. And so I can share that with you guys, but basically it's the same article that I posted to a Facebook group that got those sort of returns. And I've done this several times. Did that answer your question?
Yes, my other question would be, you didn't really talk about LinkedIn groups or LinkedIn posts or so. Do you have any experience in this field?
Yeah, I actually, if it goes back to who your client is, if they're in LinkedIn, then yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, I used to do this stuff with fax machines back in my early technology career as a consultant. We actually used to use telephone and fax machines for our marketing. And so how you do it, where you do it, doesn't matter. What matters is the words and the energies you carry with the words. And some of the systems that you might use, but those don't matter, because back in the day, if I was using fax machines to create these kind of numbers, whether it's LinkedIn, Pinterest, Facebook groups, Facebook ads, Facebook Live, it goes on and on and on. The point is not to get mixed up into all those things, but to stick to one and learn to master it. Master the one that you want to learn. Like, if you get stoked on LinkedIn, then use LinkedIn. If it's like Scott, who's like loves Facebook Live, Shelly likes YouTube, Patricia likes Facebook ads, like, rock that and do it all the way and build your systems on that. But stick to one, not like, hey, I've got to post on every single platform. Like, that's a waste of time, and actually it's kind of annoying. It's annoying to do, but it's also it's like scattered and kind of desperate. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So it's very practical. So do you think how long is the contents or the posts should be to contain all of the information that I want to deliver? Because sometimes, like, when I go to Facebook and see news feeds, like I saw like there's so many information, and sometimes like I didn't manage to finish to read all of this writings, this passage. So maybe like I miss like a good information. So, and I don't want like this happen like to my target audience. So like, how long do you think I should put all of these contents like in one post?
Yeah, that's a great question. It really depends on the stage you're at. Some of my posts have been, I can tend to be kind of wordy, but it's like when I drop value, like I'm dropping value and people tend to pay attention to when I'm going to share something. If I was doing that every day, I would probably burn myself out. And I have done that, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you start getting burned out on it, then it's not a good thing. And so, but you have to find what works for you. Some people use Twitter, and you got 130 characters, and people build businesses that way. Some people do 5-minute Facebook Lives. Some people do masterclass on Facebook Live for an hour. And how do you want to express yourself in what you want to do? And then finding what that next level is. Well, do they need more value from me? I can tell you my posts tend to be anywhere from 500 to 2,500 words. But I'm also a writer, and so like I can hammer that content out with graphics and all that like pretty easily. And it's just, I love doing it, and it's just how I get to express myself. So it really just depends on what and how you want to offer yourself.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other question? Yeah, one last question, I suppose.
Yes.
I was just wondering about if you're, because you're talking about someone's pain and problem, but what if you're trying to get donations for a cause like saving coral reefs or something? Like, how do you go about copy for those sort of things?
The reefs are dying. That's the problem.
So you have to find
And,
the right
and
people who care about it
yeah,
properly.
it's gonna, like, if they care about that, it's gonna resonate. The reefs are dying could be, and you amplify it by, hey, you care about this. Are you ready to take action? I have a solution for you. This is a story of what we're doing. Boom, here's a donate button now. Hey, what would you like to see us? How do you feel about that? Like, engaging them. And so it's getting back to not just the reefs are dying. That's the problem. But people aren't going to do anything about it until they feel the problem or the pain from the problem, like the planet's dying. Like, it doesn't feel good. And so when you can speak on that level and taking them deeper, you're going to resonate deeper in your messaging. And so that's kind of the tool and what I'm trying to outline here. But that's a beautiful question. That's a perfect example of what I'm speaking about. Going deeper.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, awesome. So, yeah, that was the last questions. And everyone here, could we please give another big round of applause to Steve Wofford? Thank you for coming here, and thank you for sharing all of this important information. Steve will be here for networking, so please be connected with him. And then he'll be also in touch with you on email. So please wait for the emails, and otherwise, you have all of these contact details of Steve here, so write it down so that you don't miss this important information. And yeah, I want to thank you everyone here for joining me, and please join us again next week, and then don't forget to use your discount coupons, because I suppose like you've got all of your discount coupons to enjoy our healthy food and drinks. And all right, so thank you everyone here, and see you again next week.
One other thing, if you want to see an example of like tons of sales copy, my Instagram profile is probably the most content heavy with lots of examples. On every single post, it basically is some version of sales copy, and so that's a good example to look at if you want to check it out. In addition to the email, that's a little bit more in depth to this, but then also uses the sales copy frameworks as well. So, thank you.
Yeah, great, thank you.